I'd like to introduce Allan from Scotland, and Allan has multiple sclerosis. Welcome, Allan.
Hi, Linda.
Could you tell me when you first started having symptoms of MS?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I was diagnosed in 1986, but I probably had symptoms for at least 10 years before that.
Mm-hmm. So what sort of symptoms did you have at that time?
But it's the same. The symptoms bother me most all my life is fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
I first started noticing terrible fatigue when I was driving. I had a job that required me driving around the north of Scotland, preparing in those days it was typewriters and photocopiers.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to stop the car and pull into the side of the road and have a rest. I didn't always sleep. It was more just having to have time out.
Yep.
To gather myself together again and set off to the next customer. And I knew it wasn't right. It was unnatural fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Other people didn't have that or complain of that sort of thing.
Yep.
I went to the doctor in those days, but it was hard to describe it other than just feeling tired.
How old were you at the time?
I would have been 25 when I went to Shetland, so I would have been between 20 and 25.
Right, so you were young.
Yeah, but I'm certainly not the youngest that I've heard of.
So how did it impact on your social life?
It actually impacted more on my business life, I suppose, because the problems were when I was driving.
Mm-hmm.
Socially, I didn't really notice it. I could rise above it. Socially, if I was going to football matches or if I was going to parties, I could. Well, I could overcome it. These are difficult questions.
Sorry.
I'm thinking back now 30 years. I can remember it being okay. My social life, I can remember it being a problem in 1990. I mean, I was long diagnosed by then, but I went to the World Cup in 1990 with 3 other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And we all shared the driving, and I couldn't take my turn driving.
Mm.
I did sometimes, but I had to depend on others. I could drive for short distances, and then I would start to tire, and someone else would have to take over. It got to the point where I didn't even bother to take my turn.
So what did you find other than the fatigue? Was that the only thing that bothered you at that time?
No. I had various sensory problems, tingling, pins and needles. When I can remember when I was driving, if I bent my neck, I would get a tingle running right down my back, through my legs, to my toes. And it wasn't painful, it wasn't unpleasant, and I would find myself doing it just to see if it was still there more than anything.
Yeah.
Are you talking on a cordless phone or a hands-free phone?
I'm doing it via Skype, so I've got a headset on.
You're doing it for, okay.
Do I sound okay?
Yeah, oh yeah, you sound okay. You just sound remote, distant.
Oh.
It's not a problem.
Okay.
I just wondered if it was my phone or...
No, it's probably me. So how did your MS progress from there?
Things that I was going to the doctor with numb patches. I remember one side of my face went numb, and when the doctor examined it, this was actually still in Shetland, when the doctor examined me, it turned out that my face wasn't numb, it was actually oversensitive, because he did tests by asking me to close my eyes and then touching my face with sharp objects, and blunt objects, and everything he touched my face with felt sharp to me.
Mm.
Not sharp or even painful. And apparently that was when the GP knew that he was dealing with MS. I didn't know I was dealing with MS. The GP knew. This was in Shetland. This was a GP that was experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that's a lie. This was a GP that wasn't experienced with MS, because I was one of the first patients he'd had with it. I met that GP a few years ago in Shetland. In fact, the last time I was in Shetland, I went for a visit. I met him just by coincidence, and he was explaining to me, he told me how bad he felt when he was dealing with me, because every time he saw me, he realized every time he saw me, he realized he was dealing with someone with MS, but didn't want to tell me because he didn't have enough evidence at that stage to give it to me. He knew the impact it would have on someone.
Yeah.
I mean, I was young, so I was 30. He was just much the same age as me.
Mm.
But what I'm trying to say is, he was dealing with people, a lot of people that were well down the road with MS.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably the first one he'd had that was just developing MS, if you like.
Yes.
And it said at that time, he was the one that broke the news to me eventually, in 1986. And he said at that time it was one of the worst things he'd ever had to do. Was tell me, because would you believe, I think I told you in the information, I was up in Shetland selling computers, repairing computers, and I had actually sold a computer to the doctor's surgery at that stage. I was maintaining their computers, and I had actually, I knew and had known for a long time there was something wrong with me. I even knew when I went to Shetland that there was something wrong with me. I didn't know what it was. And it got to the point, I'd been sent to Aberdeen for tests, and I was in Wood End Hospital in Aberdeen for a week, I think it was. The one test they really wanted to do was give me a lumbar puncture. So they left that till the end. They gave me the lumbar puncture. Yeah, and then I waited and waited for results of that, of those tests, and the results weren't coming. I wasn't hearing anything, and I suppose I was getting annoyed at the time rather than suspicious, but I was getting annoyed. I still had no clue that I had MS. Even though there are a lot of folk in Shetland with MS, I didn't know anyone there with MS. And so I was still waiting for the results. What I did was I applied for a life insurance policy. And when I asked if you'd been to the hospital recently, I filled in the section and said yes. I said I'd had tests, but I still hadn't had the results of the test. This was to the life insurance people. And when I think back, this should never have happened, and I don't blame the GP for it, but when I came into my office one day and the girl who worked for me said I'd had a message from the doctor. They wanted me to make an appointment, but I had to make an appointment at a time that was suitable for all the doctors, they wanted to see me together.
Mhm.
That's a very strange thing. I mean, I've never had that before or since. All the doctors in a practice wanting to see me at the same time.
Mhm.
And he certainly should never have left that message with the girl who worked for me,
Yes.
because she knew right away that there was something seriously wrong before she had passed me on a message like that.
Mm.
And I went to see the doctor, and sure enough, the three of them, there's only three doctors in the practice, they were all there, and that was when they told me that they hadn't wanted to tell me yet, but a hand had been forced because they had to fill in a form for the life insurance company,
Yeah.
telling them what their suspicions were, etc., etc. And they knew that the life insurance company were going to turn me down, so they thought they'd better tell me.
Mhm. So how long did it take before you found LDN?
So I found LDN, well, it wasn't that long ago. It was only 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, maybe. Well, I tell you, I mean, have you got time for a funny story?
Go on then.
I can date it exactly. It's 2006. 2006. When I started at LDN, I was talking to folk on a message board, and it turned out most of them were in the States. I didn't realise that at the time. I didn't know where everyone came from. But everyone was everyone was given their experiences of being an LDN on the message board. But in amongst all of this stuff, there's all this religious rubbish that I had no time for, and I eventually said something, and to one of them, and I get pounced on by everyone on the message board for my blasphemous comment. And one person sort of came to my defense and said, one person came to my defense, and I started talking to the person directly, and it turned out she was Australian, and that was the reason why she didn't have the same religious views as everyone else in the message board. Most of the rest of them turned out living in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she came to my defense. I started talking to her, and she had started LDN the same time as me, the same week as I had. And after I'd been in LDN for just a month, I started to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I told the girl that, and I said, if I continue to feel any better, I'll come and visit you. And in the next few days, a special offer came through, an email from British Airways, a special offer of plane flights to Sydney. So, at the spur of the moment, I booked myself a flight to Australia. I'd no visa. I didn't know how far Australia was. I mean, obviously knew where it was. Didn't know how long it took to get there, anything. But I was feeling so good. I booked this flight to Australia, and then set about getting visas, etc. And before I knew it, I was sitting on a beach in Sydney, Bondi Beach.
Oh, how wonderful.
And so that's how I can date it. 2006.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 years. I think I told a lie. I think said it was 6 years.
And what did LDN do to help you? What symptoms did it help with?
it was more psychological than anything. I can't say there were any real physical improvements. I felt better. That alone was worth it. But the expense really doesn't come into it because it's compared to some of the other things. I haven't spent so much money over the last 10 years on miracle cures. Most of the folk on the LDN message board, I met them all. I met a lot of them in Costa Rica when I went for stem cell surgery, stem cell treatment.
Yes.
And that alone cost me £20,000. And my LDN cost me, I don't even think about the crypto, minimal. You're looking at what, tens of pounds a year. I have tried Esperanza. I have tried the goat serum. I have probably paid £50,000 easy in the last 10 years on other treatments.
And you think LDN worked the best?
Well, it's the only one that ever made me feel better.
Right.
Now whether LDN has stopped or slowed down progression, I'll never know. I still take it religiously, 10 o'clock every night. You're recording all this?
I am. Is there anything else you'd like to add? It will be edited, so don't worry.
It'll be edited, yeah. Anything else I'd like to add? Well, this sounds silly, but the one thing that I wanted to do before I gave up, I suppose, was a long-haul flight, because I'd never done any long-haul flights. The only time I'd ever really flown was Aberdeen to Shetland, which is an hour. I wanted to do a long-haul flight. I've been to Australia 3 times. I've been to Costa Rica, all in the last few years. Without the LDN, I wouldn't have done that.
Well, that in itself is good news, isn't it?
It is. But I can't say that without the LDN, I wouldn't have done it, but not directly because of the LDN. I felt better. I felt well enough to take on the trip. I mean, that's 30-hour flight from Aberdeen to Australia.
It's a bit more than a hop, skip and a jump, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was mainly, I suppose, because I met the people that I did that. The same with the stem cell thing. I went to Costa Rica. I've a lot to thank LDN for, but not the kind of things that I wanted to thank it for. I suppose I can still walk. I can't walk much more than about 30 or 40 meters without a minute of rest. So I find it, I was going to say, I don't have much to measure it with, but I do. My bladder's got a problem, the bowels are a problem, balance is a problem, all of these. So I have nothing that's
What would you say
improved
to other?
dramatically.
What would you say to other people who are contemplating trying LDN?
I would say, I would never bring it up with someone, but if someone else brings it up, I would say, yeah, there's nothing to lose. It's so relatively inexpensive that anybody could try it. I suppose I have given folk information on how to get the stuff, but only if they've asked. Because I've got no single symptom or problem that has obviously improved through taking LDN. But I also had no side effects from taking it. I did, at the very beginning, the muscles in my legs tightened up a lot, but that only lasted 2 or 3 weeks. So, yeah, 2 or 3 weeks. That's the only thing. I think that's a common symptom of starting an LDN.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, Alan. I do appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay then.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.